yeas are 52, the nays are 48. The nomination of Amy Coney Barrett of Indiana to be an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States is confirmed.
With the 2020 election in full swing, everyone is wondering how the appointment of Justice Amy Coney Barrett will affect the vote. I sat down with political science professor Bridget Callahan Harrison to discuss what you can expect to see.
So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the recent passing of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Could you tell me a little bit about how her passing impacted the country, impacted the state of the courts, just everything in society?
Sure. So, I mean, you would have to be living under a rock not to recognize that Ruth Bader Ginsburg kind of became a pop icon, a folk hero in the last couple of years before her passing. With Ginsburg on the court, there was perhaps a moderation in the kind of cases that the court chose to hear. That will end. And so the kind of things that we have kind of taken for granted, things like the fact that Roe versus Wade, the Supreme Court decision that essentially made abortion legal throughout the United States with some kind of constraints, I think that is no longer the case. I think that there is, when you look at some of the more recent rulings, whether it is things like gay marriage or defining political organizations and corporations as having the same free speech rights as individuals, we may see an even further manifestation of conservatism that the court undertakes. And I think that everything's on the table. This could be the most longest lasting legacy of the Trump administration. With a 6-3 court, what this means, particularly when you consider the fact that so many of the justices who are conservative are also very young. And what that means is that this is a court whose lifespan will be with us for the next at least 2 decades. It's clear that the court would have a mandate to have a much more conservative bent. And I don't know that many millennials or Gen Z people made the calculation that the election of President Trump could have such drastic impacts for such a long time. So I think that a lot of people, when President Trump was elected, was like, oh man, this could have sweeping implications in X, Y, or Z. But everyone thought, well, it'll be over in 4 or 8 years.
Do you think that they'll use the Supreme Court as a deciding factor in the election, similar to what happened with like Bush versus Gore?
We've heard the President of the United States call into question the legitimacy of some of the elections that are being conducted in the state. And it would be very plausible for any court challenges that begin within a state to wind up in the US Supreme Court. So it is not out of the realm of possibility that this Supreme Court will actually be making some decisions that impact the outcome of the presidential election.